He's here to solve a mystery. He finds the secrets we don't see. He always tries to spill the tea. He's the man. He's Where's Barry? His videos are worth the binge. His ideas are very fringe. You could say he's quite unhinged, but most of all, he's awfully cringe. Theory chat. Theory chat. Theory chat. Theory chat. He's right sometimes, he's wrong much more. His theories often break the lore. His humor is a little whack. Sometimes it's hard to unpack. We should cut him a little slack. Where's Barry? Will he be back? Theory chat. Theory chat. Theory chat. Theory chat. It's Theory Chat. He's Theory Chat. Theory Chat. Theory Chat. Theory Chat. It's Theory Chat.
What's up, everybody? Where's Barry here? And I'm not AI. I'm a human. I am a human. I can pass the human test. Drinking water. Let's see if it works. Still got the hilarious comedy. What's up, everybody? What's up? L1 Metal Gaming. Saul popped in. 60 FPS. Welcome back. Welcome to another episode of Theory Chat. Last night, we did a full episode of Theory Chat, and I kind of couldn't see the chat, but now the chat's right here. The chat is right in front of me. I can see it. I can read it. I can react to it. So yesterday, we went through this kind of presentation, and I kind of just talked a lot. So today, we'll do more chatting, because it's called Theory Chat. It's not called Theory. Barry's still talking about how Lisa Trevor's alive. It's called Theory Chat. And you guys, the Zombs, are supposed to be a part of the show. So hopefully today we'll get a lot more comments and we'll let you guys kind of lead the discussion. What's up, American Ninja? What's up, Axon? Is this Axon also from back in the day? And sorry, I keep coughing. I think I got the T virus. Just like Alyssa Ashcroft. So what do you guys, before we get started, what do you guys think about Resident Evil 9? What do you think about the trailer? What do you think about all the stuff we've seen so far, which was not a lot of stuff? What's up, HR Zone? What's up, Dowd? The True 82? Are you guys excited for 9? Do you think it's going to be like 8? Do you think it's going to be like 7? Do you like the remakes better? What's going on with your vibes on this one? For me, Resident Evil 7's one of my favorite games because that's when I started YouTube. It's almost 8 years ago? Basically, I started my YouTube channel like June 24th, and it was like 2 weeks after Resident Evil was announced, or like 1 week after Resident Evil 7 was announced. That's when I started this YouTube, so we're almost on the anniversary coming up next week, or in a week and a half. And so Resident Evil 7 started, 0 subscribers. It took a very, very, very long time to get to 100 subscribers. And once I hit that, I was super happy. And then we kind of went up from there. But the first many, many videos were not even, nobody watched them except the cool people. So that was, so many years ago. But that's why I have a special feeling for Resident Evil 7. And Resident Evil 9 is giving me those kind of vibes again. American Ninja says, hope they bring back zombies as a basic enemy. Looks like there's a screenshot in the trailer that might say that. Rose said, heard you can be in first or third person. Yep, they're going to have 2 different cameras. We'll talk a little more in detail about that later. Jesse says he wants it to be like Resident Evil 6. All right. You you can start your own island of people who want games like Resident Evil 6. Although co-op, I think you're talking about the co-op option of that. Yeah, that's so weird. I guess. Yeah, I guess they don't really. I mean, to me, Resident Evil is one person playing and 8 people on couches watching you and everybody being scared together like a horror movie. Victor said Resident Evil 7 more better. Axton says stoked. Hope the Outbreak characters get in. Ron says I need to clean up my office. I tried to clean it up a little bit, but I ran out of time. So, what if we did this in every episode? Like I rebuilt / photoshopped a little bit of the full RPD back together, and we kind of rebuilt the entire police station from scratch. But like that would be like a long running Easter egg that nobody would get except for the people in here right now. Antivinian says, "Can you show us your RE7 cosplay?" I don't know how to get access to that at this moment, but I believe you remember that when Resident Evil 7 came out, I bought a Jack Baker outfit. It was the yellow shirt with the stripes. I bought a wig with white hair, like bald but white hair, and glasses. And I went to GameStop on the day Resident Evil 7 came out to pick it up at midnight or whatever. And I feel like it was like 10 p.m., but there was like nobody was there for Resident Evil except me. So it wasn't like a cool, fun event. It was just me in a weird outfit at a GameStop with a bunch of people in t-shirts and jeans. And I was like, I'm here for Resident Evil 7, yeah. And they were like, oh, yeah, it's right here, bro. And then I made the GameStop employee take a photo of me. And then I drove home in my Jack Baker outfit, basically like the Charlie Brown sad song playing, and I was like, well, that was off note. Victor says, hope it's more horror. Jared asks, is it Chris we heard in the trailer? There's a lot of voices in the trailer, and I don't know who's who. All right, hold on. I gotta cough again. I'm not sure what's happening because I just ordered food and I didn't eat all day until 8 p.m., which is crazy because I'm always hungry. And then like the food didn't really taste good, and now I'm like coughing all the time. I hope I'm not getting sick. Rose says, do you think we'll see a familiar character? I think we'll see a lot of characters if what I think they're trying to say in their advertising is true. And speaking of that, this is from the Capcom website. Return once again to the city of disaster and despair. The case leads to uncovering the hidden truth behind the outbreak in Raccoon City. Will this be the Requiem that finally lays all the memories of that abhorrent disaster to rest? So this is the text from Capcom's website, and it's making it sound like this might be like the conclusion of the Raccoon City saga and like the Umbrella stuff. And if it is a conclusion, then you gotta bring back the whole gang. So I don't think there'll be a lot of playable characters or anything, but I think there's got to be some cameos in this game with classic people from Resident Evil 1 specifically. Resident Evil 1 specifics. But I guess if the rumors are about Leon, maybe they bring back the 1 and 2 crowd. But the Raccoon City crowd is actually what I'm more talking about. So that could be Rebecca, Barry, Jill, Chris. That's Resident Evil 1. And then Resident Evil 2, you got Claire and Leon. Yeah, I'm explaining the characters of Resident Evil to a bunch of people who are called the Zombs, who play Resident Evil all the time and are obsessed with Resident Evil and follow all the Resident Evil channels. That's right. I just Barry-splained you about Resident Evil 1 and 2. And I might have gotten something wrong. I can't remember what I said. JB says, I think we're seeing the intro to the story in the beginning, and then Leon will take over. Anti-Venom says, how many years since the city blown up? It blew up in, what, 98? And then it should be 2025 or 26 in the game. So I don't know how they could keep an area, like, and not have people in it for that long and not rebuild. But the other thing that we see in the, at least there's been like 100 different cutscenes of the Raccoon City blowing up. But the newest version in Resident Evil 9, there's a crater, but there's a lot of building. There are a lot of buildings left. So Matthew says RE7 was so unique and new. I just love the horror of it, the indie aspect of it. And then when the game came out and we played, the demo of Resident Evil 7 is one of the best Resident Evil games of all time. It's one of the best video games of all time. And I'm just talking about the demo. And then once the game came out and it was like, oh, more items and, you know, classic Resident Evil stuff. But like that original demo was what I wanted the whole game to be. But obviously Jack Baker like turned into a 7,000-foot monster or whatever. What's up, Brett? How's it going? We're just kind of going over we got to practice now. So 2 nights in a row. Thanks for all Brett, I think you've been leaving the comments on the videos. Thanks for the comments. Yeah, don't change your avatars. I like memorize avatars more than names. And we won't go over exactly what we did yesterday. Every time I click and change the slide, the chat disappears, and that's bothering me a lot. Mars says RE7 saved Resident Evil. It kind of felt like it brought Resident Evil back at the time, but I think Resident Evil 2 and 3 Remake would have done just fine for Resident Evil because that's like where the real nostalgia was. But RE7, I guess, maybe helped us move forward and not only remakes. So I'll kind of give you that one. Host says it's called Requiem because they couldn't fit in Roman numeral 9 in there. So they had to, I'm guessing that means they had to use the number 9. You know they want to do Resident Evil X so bad, and like maybe Mr. X is like the bad guy or something. Something crazy like that. JB says, I think we saw 2 creatures in the trailer, the long hair and the one in the gameplay trailer. I thought that could be a possibility, but I think based on what the people who actually saw the demo footage and the guy who played the demo said, there's only one, like it's all the same enemy for the launch. It feels like the launch is very, like, this launch stuff is like very small. They're only showing us like the first 10 minutes of the game or whatever. Like there was like, I think the scene here with this guy is going to be like the opening cutscene of the movie, maybe, or of the game. There might be some other cutscenes as well, but this is like the opening, and then the Grace part is probably the beginning of the gameplay, and that's all we're seeing is basically the intro and that, and they're not showing anything beyond that yet. And that's why somebody would just said like, oh, maybe Leon will be the main character because after Grace gets rescued, like she's just kind of like the launch character. But I don't know. What do you guys think about Grace? Is she going to be the main character through the whole game? Are they going to have 2 characters kind of split? Is Grace going to just do like some small puzzles here and there, and there's going to be another main character? There's a lot of possibilities for that. We were talking about yesterday that movie that Seek told me the name of it. I can't remember. But it was basically a fake Avengers movie. Like, they didn't call it Avengers. And then when the movie came out, they like ripped the poster down and it said it was actually an Avengers movie or something. They could be doing like a bait and switch here, get everyone hyped up with this little intro, and then kind of switch it over to another Resident Evil, like more classic character style thing. I don't know though. It seems far-fetched to do that. Matt said, how did you like RE4 Remake? I haven't even watched the trailer yet. So I missed it. Unfortunately, I missed the launch of that, and therefore I didn't spend any time looking at it. And at some point, I'll do it blindly or whatever, like for the first time. But for now, I feel like I missed out on it, and I'm sad when I see or hear Resident Evil 4. It like makes me not feel. It makes me feel like weird. So because I missed the launch of that. Henry says the movie's called Thunderbolts. Yeah, that one. Brett says, I think swapping back and forth, like Leon searching for her, and then switching back to Grace, something like that, could keep the separate styles of the game fresh. The other thing about the styles of the game is we got the first person and the third person camera, but the thing that I keep talking about is what Max Dude said, the guy who played the demo, about how when he paused it, it said first person recommend it for this section. And so I think there's going to be horror sections that are going to be designed with first person in mind, and I think there's going to be action sections that are developed with third person in mind. So they would be able to cover both of those people who like first person, people like third person, and design a game based on the cameras rather than what they did in Resident Evil 8, which is just like, hey, let's add third person, and it sucks. So I think that's a great thing. And then also, if you do want to play the first person in third person mode, they don't force you to do first person. So there's a couple different ways you can play through the game. And a lot of people, I mean, I'd say the number one thing for the launches of all these games that I've been doing is like first person versus third person. And especially Resident Evil 7, people were freaking out about the first person. Like every comment on my old videos was like, why isn't it third person? Why isn't it third person? So they're going to get both people with that, and hopefully that there's two different styles of gameplay, and maybe that's like creates a cool game that's like a combination of Resident Evil 7 and Resident Evil 2 and 3 remake. Like it could be like a combo of that, and that would be just cool. Also, why are my headphones not on my head? I don't know. Do I think they're setting up for future Resident Evil titles with Grace? I don't think so, and that's because of what we went over before. Will this be the Requiem that finally lays the memories of the disaster to rest? I guess Grace could move on to a different location or whatever, but I feel like this is kind of a conclusion type of story. I still cannot believe that they continue to Ethan Winters and Mia and all that. I just can't believe it. Why did they do that? People didn't love Ethan. People loved Resident Evil 7 the game, but I don't think not a lot of people liked the character of Ethan, and then they're like, bring him back and let's continue the story. So it was like 7 and 8 were almost like the similar story, but I think this one's now connecting back to like Resident Evil 2 and 3 in terms of the story or whatever. And then just going over this right here, this guy, Nathan Dempsey, he is your FBI special agent in charge. And then last night I was talking about how I think it's sketchy that he makes Grace go to the place where her mother was murdered. He just seems to be forcing her there, and she clearly doesn't want to go. And she's clearly too scared, and he's like, come on, bro, just relive your past, bro. Like, get over it. And that's not very HR friendly. And it just seems like he's like really wants her involved in this. And I think there's a million other employees that could probably do the same type of job, but he's really pushing her. So this guy, I got my eye on this guy. I'm usually wrong. So what do you guys think about this director? Is he just going to be like in the intro and maybe like on a phone call in the middle? Is he like going to be on the dark side of the story? Because he just seems mean to her, sort of. But also movie trope, the police chief, the special agent in charge, they're always like rah, 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 and they're all mean and stuff. So Matthew, sorry, I laugh at that, but Matthew said the Resident Evil 7 and 8 were companion pieces to your life story. Let me ask you this. Are your grandparents BOWs? Day Player, hold on. What's up, Day Player? Nate says he's the new Clive O'Brien. Brett says he's just a bad boss. And that's my editing for you. He seems like the skin. I never saw X-Files. I mean, I'm sure I've seen it, but I never watched it. Tactical said seeing Grace as the character lowered the hype. Matt says it adds a Hunnigan vibe. Hunnigan was a little different because she was like, I don't know. I feel like he's not going to be communicating with her the whole time. I think he's just like throwing her out there and seeing what she can do on her own if he's a good boss in that situation. But and here's basically the storyline that we see for this guy. See, he walks in. He's all about business. There, a bunch of people are like, hello, sir. And he ignores them. He doesn't say hello back. He just like, he's on a mission. He's walking to Grace. And he's not going to let anything stop him.
Grace.
From getting over to her.
Grace Ashcroft.
Yes?
My office.
Now, is that playing audio? Interesting. Why can I hear that, but I can't hear the intro music? That's Ada in disguise. A lot of X-Files fans in the comments here. Dominic says she's heavily invested in the case, so Nathan's offering her the gig. That's probably the best point so far, Dominic. Because when he saw her, she was already looking up the dead bodies and stuff like that. So she's definitely heavily involved. And it sounded like in the trailer, at the end of the trailer, like towards the end, there's a woman's voice. She's like, "You're my only hope," or whatever. Like, it sounded like it was Alyssa talking to her daughter through like a videotape and saying, "Hey, Grace, you gotta, avenge me or whatever and solve the mysteries I've been working on." So I guess you're right now that I'm thinking about it again. She's probably like wants to do this. She probably doesn't want to do it, but she knows she has to do it. I think maybe that's a better way to put it. So even though she is scared and he's kind of forcing her, like she kind of owes it to her mom or something like that maybe. Anti-Venom says, upload the video to AI. AI is terrible. You saw my intro. It took me like 80 years to make that intro because AI is stupid. And AI, I ask it questions, and ask it some Resident Evil questions. It will explode. It doesn't know any of the answers. You're better off asking a YouTuber. I have to take a break of like 30 seconds in between changing topics so that the chat can catch up to the real life because we're on like a 30-second delay. So that's why I'm taking drinks. All right, let's talk about Grace Ashcroft. What do you guys think of her as the main character? The guy in the chat earlier said when he saw she was the character, he lost interest in the game. A lot of people want classic characters. Some people have a problem anytime there's a female character. That's kind of weird for that. To me, I kind of like I like this. I don't know. I like it. I saw it, and it made me want to make more videos. Like the whole vibe of it, the daughter helping the mother or whatever. I think I don't know. I think I like her better than Ethan already. Also, they're showing her face. Thank you for showing the face. Not showing Ethan's face was really dumb. And then when Ethan finally had a face, it was a dumb face. No offense to the guy who was the model for it. I'm just talking about the game one. What's up, Resident Doctor? What's up, Luis? Raquel says, I think she's not the type of hero, but then she will become one as she evolves. Yeah, so the main thing to talk about is she's not an FBI agent. She's an FBI analyst. And the analysts, they don't carry guns. They usually work in the office. They're like nerds. They're spreadsheets. And we showed you this here.
Grace.
Oh, we don't have to watch Grace. We showed you her desk here and just how messy it is. And this is my desk right here, but look at her desk. I mean, there's just papers all over the place, things falling off the desk, files unorganized. She just dropped a bunch of books on the ground and left them. She's got Post-it notes everywhere, and it is just a train wreck of an office. And she was just like zoned in on this article she was writing, or not article, report she was writing, and didn't even hear her boss come in or whatever. Victor says, I like playing as new characters. I like that. I like some new characters. Brett says she's going to be an all-time classic character. Nate says she has more character in 5 minutes than Rose did for the DLC. I still haven't played that, by the way. American Ninja says, like to see the old characters, but the new characters aren't bad if they're done well. Yeah, like who was done? So before we keep talking about Grace, what characters were new that did well? Ethan made it to 2 games and a bunch of DLCs, but just for those games. And I don't think people liked him. Mia, was she good character? I think she was better than Ethan, but I don't know that she was a great character. Billy was an interesting character. He disappeared. He was a new character for RE0. Shiva in Resident Evil 5 disappeared, was a single character. Rose says, what if we see other Outbreak characters? Yeah, that would definitely be cool. Steve says, Moira's good, but only one other. Oh, that was from Revelations. Yeah, I didn't never, no offense to my own daughter, Moira, but I didn't really like the Moira gameplay, or maybe it was the gameplay? I don't know. What's up, Solid Snake, Propeller Guy, Joe Baker? Oh, Joe Baker. Wasn't that like the twin brother or the uncle or whatever? I forgot about that. Oh man, the Baker family was great, man. I hated the way they turned into bosses, but I did like how different they were as regular characters. Lucas, yeah, and Lucas, I think, right? Wasn't Lucas like a new character that people liked? I think in Resident Evil 8, I was like, I probably did a video. Is Lucas coming back? Did he die in the RE7? That's how long ago RE7 was. I can't even remember. Oh, and then 60 FPS Gamer makes a good point. Lady D in Village was a beloved character before, as soon as she was seen for 1 second, boom, she was like already like a beloved character. I loved all the Village bosses, by the way. They were so cool, but it wasn't Resident Evil. I don't know. It just felt slightly different than Resident Evil to have it. I thought it was cool, though. Joe is the punching one. Rose says the little girl from Revelations, Natalia. Yeah, see, Natalia is Alex Wesker. So at the end of Revelations, Alex Wesker transferred her consciousness to Natalia. And then I can't remember, but the final scene is like, oh, this is Natalia. She's a nice little girl. And then at the end, I can't remember. Is she like reading a evil book or makes a weird face or something? And you're like, oh, that's not Natalia anymore. That's Alex Wesker. I think that's one of the connections outside of Outbreak that would be the most likely would be Alex Wesker being involved, because she is a Spencer disciple and she loves Spencer's research and stuff. And then this game's about Spencer's research and about Resident Evil 1 and stuff. Someone else saying Mrs. Ashcroft. Yeah, so there's a bunch of different things happening with the voices. Hold on, let's save that for a minute. American Ninja says RE8 wasn't RE to me. Cool characters, just a fairy tale game. Yeah, I didn't like the vibe of that. I keep using the word vibe. It's stupid, but Rob Woods, what's up? Um, 9 and 7 they have that horror vibe, and 8 just didn't have that. It, like you said, a fairy tale vibe, little different. Cody says, gonna turn these discussions into videos. I think I've done a lot of this discussion in 2 different videos. The one about Wesker and why Grace is the chosen one, and then yeah, so I've covered a lot of it. The only other theory that I think has enough for a video would be the Alex Wesker one or the Lisa Trevor one, I guess. Okay, we were supposed to come back to something. Who remembers? I started reading the comment and then I said we're coming back to it. Oh. So, sorry, God dang. So the voices in the trailer, basically, sometimes the trailer will be deceiving and they'll move a voice to a location where you think it's another person. And he was saying that the guy who's like, you're the chosen one, you're the whatever one, may not have said Mrs. Ashcroft. The other thing people have been talking about is Mrs. Ashcroft the mom or the daughter, and he purposefully doesn't say the first name of the person so that we don't know. There's a bunch of flashbacks. Are they going to flash back to Outbreak? Are they going to flash back to 8 years ago in the hotel when she was murdered? What are the flashbacks? I was thinking that they're videotapes because of some slides that we'll see in the future. And then there's a couple other voices at the end. What we were talking about, one sounds like Carlos for sure, and the other 2, people have a million theories on them. It's Leon, it's Chris, it's Jill, it's Outbreak characters. There's so many different theories on the voices, and the one that didn't match up was Leon. I put Leon's voice from Resident Evil 2 Remake next to the trailer voices. Not even close, not even close. So I don't know. IGN had an article that was talking about, oh, the audio sounds like Leon. It doesn't sound like Leon. It's the one sounds like Carlos, though. What's up, Cloak and Dagger? Brett says maybe the killer leaves the flash drives of the mother. It seems like... All right, let's actually skip over that. How do we... Wow, this is 108 slides. Oh my gosh. I've gone too far. Okay, here we go. This is the flashback that we see in the trailer. And it looks like she's pointing the flashlight forward and she's looking backwards. So it looks like she possibly could be talking to a video camera. That's number 1. Number 2, what if the person she's looking at is us in first person and somehow we play as a different character besides Alyssa in the past? I don't think that's very likely. And yeah, all these things from the flashback. Sometimes they fake the flashback. So are these even flashback pictures? I think it is, but you see in this one, it's a rainy day. It's a rainy day in the trailer too. And you've got the hotel and everything here. What's up, 86? What's up, the dude? So yeah, I don't know. Oh, and this was the other one. I'm glad it froze here. This is the other scene in the flashback, and it looks like 3 different people kind of looking down. I don't know if that they've kidnapped. This is when they kidnapped. Her name's not Rose. Kidnapped Grace or kidnapped Alyssa or something. But this was the most intriguing screenshot to me because you can't really make out anything, but it does look like 3 people, and it gave me a lot of Chris Redfield vibes. I don't know if there was a scene in Resident Evil 7 where you're on the ground and they're looking down at you, but that was the vibes that I got there. Brett says, what if there are cutscenes from Outbreak, which would be included as a separate game or as the multiplayer section? That would be interesting. Somebody was saying online, like, what if this is secretly just the Outbreak remake? And We don't know it yet. And the whole game's going to go like flashback to so this is and all this stuff is just popping in. But what if what if the game is half flashbacks and all the flashbacks are the Outbreak remake? And then there won't be an Outbreak remake because like some of the flashbacks will be in this. Antivenin says, I don't know what clues they can find 20 years later to break the case. Yeah, it seems like there's so many games out there with so many storylines, and I was just playing Outbreak. So in an Outbreak, she's like, yeah, she wrote an article about BOWs, like a newspaper article for the world. And like Raccoon City how does any of this even make sense? It's just so convoluted. But I thought they already solved everything. So I don't know what new secrets they have. I guess there's always new secrets because someone's always taking the old research or trying to create superhumans or whatever. Let's go back to the future. Let's go back to the Grace section. Oh my gosh, I don't know how to control this still. My pointer finger is not working on phones but my thumb is. Did I lose my fingerprints or something? And in Resident Evil there's always an underground something. So yeah, I guess the entire Raccoon City just could be like an underground lab again. All right, so let's talk about the demo that was played. And I guess this is one of the scenes from the demo. And it's the, oh my gosh, the game's in third person, yeah! Scene. But for me, it's more about she has a lighter. She's got no weapon. She's got just, apparently, according to the demo players, she has empty bottles that she can pick up and throw. The game that multiple people compared it to was Alien Isolation. And so basically, there's like a 20-minute demo, right? And it exists, and it's playable. But they didn't, and so they invite all the media up to not all the media, they invited people with like 1 million subscribers and the media to watch a pre-cut version of the demo. So it was like me editing the trailer in a different way. You know, you can edit and like not show everything. So they showed all that to these media people. But the demo actually exists, and then a couple people actually got to play that demo. And the demo is just Grace from the trailer getting kidnapped. You see her in the hospital bed. That's the start of the trailer. And the ending is she like crawls out of the door, and then it just ends. So that exists, and that's the only thing we see of the game is the intro and the trailer and the demo. So there's a whole other game out there that we haven't seen. Maybe the only scenes that from that are the Raccoon City ones because they wanted to give some teaser on that. But we don't know. We know that Grace is going to eventually get weapons because they showed her with the gun. So she is not just going to be a puzzle solver or a whatever. But basically the demo reminded me, the demo seems like it's a mini game. It's not the game. It's not Resident Evil. It's not Resident Evil 9. It's not the actual gameplay. It's a mini game designed to have a lot of horror in it. And the actual game's going to be obviously the same graphics and items and weapons and stuff, or there's no weapons, but it's not going to be like walking through hallways quietly and like tiptoeing. I think this is like a cool mini game that they created to generate buzz. It's going to be available for the public to play at Gamescom in Germany at the end of August. So that's 2 months away. The end of August is so far away. And then we're hoping, but we're not sure, that during Gamescom they go, hey, by the way, demo's available to everyone. And then we all get to play it, and then the hype just starts building and we start. But we don't know. Are they going to do the demo? I don't know. Because every game they've done different things, and we're not sure. Would the demo be timed? It sounded like the way that it was played, it was not timed. But they could always add a timer for the people like they've done with, what did they do? Resident Evil 7 had some, or not 7. Oh my God. And then remember Resident Evil 7's demo got updated 3 times or something with different puzzles? Oh, that was so cool. Gosh. 98 Demon says, I think it's part of the game, just a small section. Yeah, I think it's the beginning of the game, like kind of like a tutorial or something. But I don't, and maybe there would be a second section. Maybe, yeah. I don't know, because in this section, basically a monster is chasing you like Alien Isolation. And in other games, Mr. X chases you, but then he's gone for a while, and then he chases you again, or Lady D, or whatever. Like, they always have these little segments where you're running away from someone. Now, in the other games, you could usually fight back. And this one is completely based on running away and not fighting back. So it's slightly different, and I'm just hoping that it's not like a huge, huge part of the game. I think it was a great way to showcase the graphics, a great way to showcase the storyline in a fun little mini game that could work independently as a demo. And I think that's what's going on here, but I don't know. Matt says you want to see a merchant character. I don't. That was always kind of like a weird supernaturally type thing. I don't think it fits with the Raccoon City old school Resident Evil vibes. Nate says, I don't think Grace starts in Raccoon City. I think she's brought there and wakes up in the demo area. Yeah, and we don't know where the demo takes place. So all the people who played it called it a hospital. We know there's something called the Wrenwood Hotel. That's where she was supposed to be going. So I don't think she's waking up in the Wrenwood Hotel, but they could have turned the hotel into a lab where they could experiment. So maybe it's the hotel. And then the other thing we were talking about yesterday is Wrenwood a name of a town? And is this like the Wrenwood Hotel? You got the Wrenwood Hospital, the Wrenwood Police Station, like its own town, and then somehow later she'll get to Raccoon City. Or is this somehow in Raccoon City on the outskirts where the bomb didn't hit? Not sure on that. Maybe Wrenwood Hospital is just a second hospital in Raccoon City. I don't know. Uh, 98 Demon says, can't wait to see the improvements on the RE engine. So basically, the thing that was that was important to me was Resident Evil 2 Remake was an awesome game. I don't love that it had 4 scenarios and that a lot of them it was the same, but it was an awesome game, right? Resident Evil 3 Remake, to me, was like, the graphics were so good compared to RE2. Like, it was a big jump, and I loved the color scheme and everything, and it connected back to the old game. But, yeah, just the difference from RE2 Remake to RE3 Remake is like, what's the difference going to be from RE7 to RE8 to RE9? I'm sure it was a big change from 7 to 8 as well. I think we also jumped to the new generation too, right? Yeah, Resident Evil 8. I had to drive an hour to buy the PlayStation 5 to play the demo. To play the demo, I went online and I said, "Who has a PS5? I'll pay you $100 if you let me borrow it for 24 hours." And my friend, I drove to my friend's house, which was like 20 minutes away, took his PlayStation, brought it here, and played it for 24 hours. And he actually took the $100. I didn't think he was going to take it. And then the game was going to come out or whatever, and there was no PlayStations. I almost bought one out of a trunk. Like, I went on Facebook, and I'm like, oh, I really need this to play the demo, I can't remember, the demo or the game. And then I somehow managed to get one at a Best Buy that was an hour and 15 minutes away in traffic. And I remember driving down to pick up that PlayStation. So it was definitely next gen was 8, but this will be the full, right? This is all going to be on PS5. Yeah, I've been gone for out of video games for 4 years, so I'm assuming PS5 is available now. I just saw some tweet like they're like PS6 is on our mind or whatever, and I'm like, did people just get PS5s or have they been available for a while? Anyway, I can't remember why I was talking about the PlayStation story, but that's how I got my PlayStation 5. 60 FPS says too much cut content was in Resident Evil 3. I mean, they didn't put Barry in. That was upsetting. But the graphics were really, really good. And also had the same exact thing. Everyone's like, RE3, the original, was cut short, and it didn't have that, like, it just felt like really similar to the RE3 original. And I don't know if it was on purpose or if it had the same thing, like, oh, God, we got to rush this out or whatever. NT says RE3 was too short. I thoroughly disagree. I love how short it was. Like, I love the original Resident Evil 3 is shorter than original Resident Evil 2. I like how you can just go, play through it, get through the game, boom. The Resident Evil 2 thing where you had to play the same level 2 different times with 2 different characters, it was just, and then a lot of it was similar. It was that I didn't like that. They made it seem like there was a lot of content in RE2, but they needed more levels in that one. But this is about Resident Evil 9. Sorry, got distracted. What's up, MKL? What's up, Carlos? Let's see some, I don't know. Let's see some emojis in the chat while I take a drink of water here and figure out what we're going to talk about next. So back to RE9. We've got this screenshot here of Grace. I swear I'm going to call her Rose or something by accident. And apparently this particular screenshot, she's running away from the monster and she fell on the ground, like she tripped over her feet. And yeah, you just see, and then they shared this with us because you can see the terror in her eyes or whatever, and they want to make her seem super terrified. And what the players said was, like, Ethan was in a similar situation, not used to being in weird places, and then, like, all this horror started happening to him, and Ethan was just like, what? Like, what's that Pete Davidson character that's Chad or whatever? Okay. Like, Ethan didn't do anything. He was just like, there was like a comment or two he made, maybe a couple breaths, but they say like she's making the horror seem more real because she's like getting super scared in the demo. Oh, cool. Matthew's got all the special characters. I forgot about those. Oh, Boogie Boogie Hedgehog. What happened to Rose? She probably left already because we didn't play enough hedgehogs. And then, yeah, I mean, it's just the way that the other thing about these launches is the trailers aren't complete. Like, I don't think it's fully finished necessarily. Because, like, look how she looks in that scene. And then look how she looks in the next scene. I don't know. I feel like they put finishing touches on the graphics or something before the game comes out. Game comes out. Yeah, Ethan, Chevy says Ethan would just say WTF. Yeah, and then remember he's getting his arm like sawed off by his wife, and he has no reaction like that. It's something weird. Like he's just like, Mia, is that you? And she like chops his hand. Oh my gosh, that's so crazy. The little reactions. And again, I was saying like they wanted you to play it in VR or whatever. And they wanted you to feel like you were Ethan, and that was my thought on why they never showed his face and why he didn't really say much. But I don't think that part hit the way they thought it was going to hit. And speaking of Ethan, there he is. And why did I put him here? Because I'm thinking, I don't think they can do it twice, but it just, again, it's a lot of Ethan vibes. Like, oh, I'm not supposed to even. I'm not even supposed to be here today. And oh, I haven't fired a gun since basic training. And then by the end of it, she has a rocket launcher and she's shooting Wesker in the face with it. Just like Ethan, who shot a grandma with Chris Redfield's gun. And I shall take a drink of water as we shift on to Alyssa and read the comments. What did I see? Oh yeah, I saw Kevin Smith on some podcast. Oh, I thought they were remaking Dogma. So Dogma is one of my favorite movies ever, and apparently there was something with it basically disappeared. You couldn't even buy the DVD unless you like bought it on eBay for a lot of money. But when I was younger, that was one of my favorite movies ever. And then I guess he re-released that. So that's my Kevin Smith story. Is that his name, Smith? Yeah, I guess, was there another Devil May Cry game that ever came out? Matthew says, if we were sitting at this desk, what would be in the drawers? There would be like spiders and nothing, because Carlos would have stolen it all already. Anti-Venom says, let me read that. Anti-Venom. Is that supposed to be like anti-venom? But like, or is venom a different thing? Chevy 07 with the membership. Let's get some Zombs in the chat from the other members. Or what did we used to do? What was the character in the chat that we used to do? Basketballs. I don't know. Whatever emojis you like, and don't do the one that I just did in the chat. Anti says, hope she can fight and shoot. By the end of it, Ethan was going crazy. I think she'll be well equipped in weapon terms. Oh yeah, remember? All night long, all night. Yeah, I've still got the video on the dancing thing, and yeah, it's. So yesterday, it took me forever to set all this up, and then today I made some new intros and some music and stuff, and that's as far as I got before coming on tonight. So I'm slowly gonna bring in, yeah. And yesterday we only had far, middle. Today I added a little closer. So those are the improvements I've been making on these streams. Yeah, the Aquabats song, which is one of my favorites, and then I think it started getting flagged, even though I had sped it up or whatever. I can't remember what happened with that, but I do have it, and I will find it, and I will never redo that dance, so hopefully that old video exists, because I ain't doing that again. I do still have those pajamas. I kept them forever. That was actually designed. So we played some game where you play as a baby in a crib as first person. I don't even know what it was called. Beyond the Sleep, is that a game? We played that as one of the horror indie games, and so I bought that pajama. By the way, that pajamas was like $80. What a ripoff. I wore it while I played the game. It was 1,000 degrees in there. I did that dance, I think, specifically for that game. It was never supposed to be after that. And then I've never worn those pajamas again, but I did keep them. So, unfortunately, that was one of the non-Resident Evil related costumes I bought. So there's no reusing it. Like this hat, could wear this all the time. Got my Zombs shirt. I got my Step On Me shirt that 0 people bought it. It's such a good shirt. Hold on, I'm gonna go get the Step On Me shirt. Oh, magically appeared. That shirt. It's a stupid shirt. But I did just see it on my floor. I do have merch, but when I got these shirts, I paid like $300 to send them to all the like #1 fans. So I'm not like trying to actually sell all the stuff. I just wanted to make cool stuff I could wear on stream and then make it available to people if they wanted it. 98 Demon says the bloody handprint hat. Yeah, I just looked at that, 2 days ago? It's gone. Like, before there were at least images of it. I can't even find like an image on it in Google Images anymore. There's like some other promotional Resident Evil 7 one. All right, so next up, Alyssa Ashcroft. Let's talk about Alyssa Ashcroft. How many of you guys have played Outbreak recently? How many of you have never played Outbreak? I think that's one of the common Resident Evil games fans haven't even had time to play or been able to get their hands on. A hedgehog shirt. I think I stole that hedgehog thing that runs across. I think that's like an icon. I did not make it. Although AI could just make a hedgehog in 5 seconds. AI is kind of annoying. And yet, my whole intro for this theory chat. Dayplayer says, haven't played online with the fan server. Yeah, so apparently, if you Google it and YouTube it, and you want to be like, you want to spend some time to figure out how to do it, you can still play Outbreak online with real people. I think you need the Japanese version. There's a bunch of different things you have to do. So I haven't played it online since whatever year it came out. When did it come out? It must have been 2003 or something, because that's when I lived in a house where I had the wire going down the hall. It was either 03 or 04 when I was playing it. But yeah, if you Google it, you can figure out how to play it online, or just better yet, watch other people play. I know that's weird, but if you go to like Twitch and just type in Outbreak, you'll see like the streamers who actually play Resident Evil games. They know how to do it, and they play online with other people all the time. So, or play with Victor. He says he plays all the time. I play single player, and I turn off the helpers because I don't want those stupid characters running around screaming at me. And so I played on a mode called Lone Wolf mode, where you don't have any character help. And this is where the AI stuff was funny, because just for fun, I always have an AI thing up, and I go, "Hey, I'm playing Outbreak, and I'm in Lone Wolf mode by myself. Do I have to solve every puzzle because my teammate doesn't exist?" And AI's like, "No, you do not have to solve the puzzle." And I was like, "Listen, I don't have the item. I'm pretty sure I have to solve the puzzle. Are you wrong?" And it was like, "I am not wrong. You do not have to solve the puzzle. You do not have to go into this thing." And I'm like, "Dude, I just beat the whole thing. I went to all the places, and this item is not anywhere. I have to go make this item myself." And then it's like, "Oh, good catch. You are correct. You actually do have to play." It's like, oh my gosh, you have to like yell at this stupid computer because it doesn't know what it's talking about. Anyways, that rant is over. Chevy says, I think Outbreak has the best theme song. That one theme song, and I'll just start playing the clips here, I think. Where is it?
As a newspaper reporter,
So the
I
theme
had been
song
involved
here
with bizarre cases before.
during these
But
endings
this time,
is
I had to
amazing.
learn the hard way.
It's got Jurassic Park vibes. And it's
My past experiences were
it's gonna
useless.
pause when I hit
When a
this.
horror movie
You son of a gun.
becomes reality, a person's
Alright, can't
sanity
read the
can
chat.
disappear instantly. I was moving on pure survival instinct. Normally, I'd be loving this kind of thing. You know, everywhere I turn there's a scoop. But none of that matters if you're not alive to tell it. Besides, mayhem has become the way of life here.
I must have said this sucks about 1,000,000 times that day. And that was close about 1,000,000 more. How much longer would my luck hold out? How many more times could I cheat death in that seemingly endless living hell?
Two things are for certain. I'm alive by some miracle, and the next hell is waiting around the corner.
I'm not talking about that song.
Even I've had enough.
This one,
Just
I think.
thinking about the column I have to write. I'm getting a headache.
Playing it safe
Yeah,
may
that's
be
basically
best,
Jurassic
but
Park.
that's not what I call truly living. Fight for what you want. There's always going to be risks. You may get hurt in the end. But for me, I'd rather die having lived than
Alright,
live
we get
without
it.
no.
Axon says Alyssa has a secret ending in the true scenario. Do I not? So basically, what I did was I watched all the endings and the cutscenes in the menu. Like you like unlock all the cutscenes, but it doesn't. In Outbreak 1, it doesn't show all the cutscenes. It doesn't show the bad endings. It only shows the good one. So I don't know if I've seen that ending you're talking about. Yeah, though. And then when you put them all together like I did, it's like, wait, it's like you beat the game, like each level was like beating the game, and every time you're like, oh, she escaped, but then she somehow didn't escape. That was a little weird about this. The end of the thing should have been like, oh, there was a fire, and I got out of the hotel, but next up is something. Next up, I have to go to the zoo or whatever the stuff is, but. And then the other thing we were talking about yesterday is, and that I found weird, was Alyssa in Outbreak has 2 levels. In Outbreak 1, her level is called Hellfire. It takes place at the Apple Inn, which is a hotel in Raccoon City. And in Outbreak 2, her level is called Flashback, and it takes place at a hospital outside of Raccoon City, I think. And then in this game, we've got the hotel and the hospital as the 2 main things that we've seen so far, although they might be the same building. And then I thought, well, that's super weird that those 2 are the same as the 2 levels that she had in Outbreak. And then it makes me think, what if there's more Outbreak stuff? And like we said before, what if the flashbacks are different Outbreak scenes or Outbreak characters? And is this going to take over for the Outbreak remake? I don't think they're going to remake Outbreak. Do you guys really think they would remake that? I don't know. The whole idea of that was more about I mean, they made that, what was that terrible game? It was the multiplayer game. They made multiple. They did Umbrella Corps. That was a multiplayer. They did Resistance. Was that it? They did all that before Outbreak. Outbreak was the one like, oh, let's do a multiplayer thing. Hey, why don't we do Outbreak again? And for some reason they didn't do it. So, how does the Apple Inn connect to Alyssa? I don't know. Jake held an apple in Resident Evil 6. Yeah, but so the Apple Inn was in Resident Evil original or remake, Outbreak original, and the new hotel is called the Renwood Hotel, I guess. Hotels could change names, certainly, but I'm thinking it's a different one. Also, there was a weird like graveyard in the center of the Apple Inn, I think, or some weird courtyard with like gravestones or statues. It was weird. It doesn't make sense remaking it after 9, which comes out in February. The people yearn for Outbreak in RE Engine. Capcom knows the multiplayers have been trash. They have, and that's why I'm like, why did they do that instead of going with something they... I guess they made Umbrella Corps to try to be like Call of Duty or something. Is that what Umbrella Corps was? And then Resistance, was that supposed to be like Friday the 13th? I think they were basing their multiplayer things on other games that were successful, and they tried to like kind of copy the style and make it Resident Evil-y, which is not a good idea. So they should just, like you said, use their own Resident Evil-y concept and do it again. And like maybe not have the doors load for 10 minutes, and maybe not have the characters clip through the walls or like bounce into each other. What's up, RWK? It's so funny. My 3 biggest videos were 3 years ago. They were the 3 Easter egg videos of Resident Evil. And so they're like relating to every person in the world because everybody's played those games. And then now it's like a live stream of Resident Evil 9 and people are like, "What? Why did I follow this guy?" And there's so many horror games that I bought and I have over here unopened, like the one that somebody just said. Dead by Daylight, I think. I might have played one of the Dead by Daylights once. I never even finished Last of Us. Days Gone. I've got a bunch of games. Until Dawn was one of my favorites. By the way, off topic, the guy from Until Dawn, Mr. Robot, he was just interviewed because Until Dawn became a movie. And they interviewed him, and he's like, yeah, that he's like is embarrassed that he did Until Dawn the game. He's embarrassed about it. It's an awesome game. Like, it's so good of a game, and he's embarrassed because he did it. And he's like, I only did it for the money because I was poor and I wasn't a good actor. That was so. I just saw him say that, and I was like, come on, man, embrace it. Like, there's so many fans of it, but maybe he was also bitter that he wasn't in it. I don't know, but he's also probably would have turned it down in 5 seconds because Until Dawn is like he was in the. I think he's a bigger star than that, but that was just a weird thing that I just saw recently. About how like he was like, ugh. I don't know. Until Dawn was so good. The AI in Outbreak sucked and difficult to work with. Yeah, that's why I play Lone Wolf mode. You don't have to deal with them, but then you have to do their work for them, and it takes 3 times as long. Dead Space. Yeah, I can't. I think I tried that for a minute. Anyways, we're not supposed to be talking about other games. Okay, so we got the hotel room. It looks like a 204 in this picture here, but it might also be 201. But yeah, someone was saying online in the comments, like, yeah, every house, every apartment, every hotel, every hospital, every office building that has a second floor has a room 201. It's like, yeah. And then the flashback has a lot of the Resident Evil 7 vibe on it. With the, it just looks like the house in Resident Evil 7 with how decayed it is and stuff. And even the scene with Alyssa here, it's just very Sewer Gator VHS Resident Evil 7 demo vibes with all the way everything looks. And then you get the clean look in this new one. But the flashback looks cool in Resident Evil 70. And then the new level looks more Resident Evil 80. Resident Evil 9 is first person and third person. You get to pick either one, and the game will recommend certain cameras for certain situations. So I'm thinking the game was designed specifically different levels for different cameras, which would be better than what they did with Village, which is just design it for first person and then add a third person camera. Well, I think the guy was saying it was recommended to play first person in that situation, and that if you were in a different situation, the menu would recommend a different camera. That's what it sounded like, or that's not what it sounded like. That's what Max was predicting, I guess. When Resident Evil 9 comes out, I should be playing it, but I usually play through it a couple times. And try to, so Resident Evil 8 was a good sample of, so what happens is, if you're playing the game, you're not making videos on the game. But playing the game is way more fun than making videos on the game and hanging out and chatting and doing the chat. So Resident Evil 8, I played, and then when I did a video, finally the walkthrough, it was too late. Everyone else had them, and it kind of, I kind of stopped wanting to do that kind of stuff. I just wanted to play the game. So I'll definitely play it, and I'm not sure how I'll add videos in there. But I didn't do it correctly on 8. And I said the same exact thing I'm saying now before 8. Like, oh, maybe I'll only play it one day, and then the next day I'll make a video. And I just was like, play. And then I always have to play it on the hardest level, and I suck at games. So, I mean, some of you guys have been there. We were talking about yesterday No Way Out from Resident Evil 2, the DLC. Resident Evil 7, how about the Jack Baker fight? I think that was, or whichever person is, maybe it was the woman, but that was Jack. Like, it took me like 3 days to beat some of these things. And it just frustrates me so much. Oh my gosh. And Resident Evil 8 didn't they give you like you could buy perks? So like you could use infinite ammo on hard and get the trophy or whatever. And I still had a lot of trouble on that. And then 98 Demon says it's not seamless swapping of camera angles. At least in the demo, you had to go into the menu to change the camera. So that would be interesting. Oh, and then there was that DLC for RE7 that took the one where if you get hit once, you have to start over or something. Oh my God, that took forever too. License to Kill or something. I can't remember. Anyway, Resident Evil 9 we're talking about. Stop talking about that, Barry. I think this is the waiting room of the hospital in the demo. Here's like a hallway shot of the hospital. And then there's a person. So there's other people around. Is this just like a lady like delivering something to the doctors? What's behind those doors? Is this going to be a lady that you have to avoid? And I still haven't figured out what that is. Why is there a light coming out of the door? Oh, I was thinking it was like an electric lock on a sliding door, and it's a red sliding door, but I don't know. What is that little light thing? Any ideas? Oh, no, I have to stream the first playthrough. That's the one to stream. They used to give me the game early, and they let me play the game before it came out. And I think I didn't. I think I saved it, and I can't remember. Did I play one of those games early? I try to save it for the live stream and play it first time. Also, I don't think I get the games early anymore. I guess I could re-ask about that. Nate says Max said light switches in rooms. Some rooms are pitch black. Yeah, he also said the demo was set up similar to Resident Evil 7 demo, where you play through the demo and you think, oh, I've went through this hall before, but then the second time through the hall, there's like a loud noise and you get jump scared. So that's why I just wish they released the demo when they announced it, because that would be so fun if it was like actually scary. But yeah, he was saying he went back to another room that he was a safe room, and then like thunder and lightning struck and scared him or something. So there's like, and then going in different areas might cause something else to happen. And I'm pretty sure the Resident Evil 7 demo was like that, especially the Jack Baker thing where he would say, "Welcome to the family, son." Like you trigger that event somehow. Ryan says I played RE3 Remake early. Okay. Or did I play it early off stream, or did I play it early like they gave me permission to play it early? I feel like one of them we had permission to play it before the game officially came out. Or it was like in New Zealand. I can't remember. If there is a hospital, there are light switches outside the rooms that indicate what the patient is for. Oh, that's what you're saying that the light was. Sorry. And Brett said it's a fire extinguisher. And I think you said that yesterday. Somebody said that yesterday. All right, I guess. I guess the light would be like a night light so that you don't miss it. Tactical says, do you think RE9 will have melee action? Whatever Resident Evil 8 had, I think Resident Evil 9 will have similar. James said there was some Reddit post of Leon or something. I don't know. The leak stuff is like stuff that I always hate it. And then when people would always try to get me to be involved in this stuff, like the leaker people. And I was like, please just don't, like, I don't want to know. Like, don't tell me anything. So. Okay, Ryan. Yeah, I think I wanted to get through it and learn how to do it and start making videos on the Easter eggs or something. I think Resident Evil 3, the lead up, was like the Easter egg video did really well, and I was like, I gotta just start playing it and just trying to find all the secrets so that I could make a video. And then for 8, I think I did not do that. And I think my walkthrough for Resident Evil 8, the final video I did, was really, really good. And but I posted it when it was probably considered spoilers, so people didn't want to see it. Yeah, it's interesting that Resident Evil 7 demo was so good for marketing. Like, I didn't play Resident Evil games. I didn't play Resident Evil 6. I mean, maybe I did when it came out, and I hated it. I remember playing, like, a little bit. And when I saw the trailer for Resident Evil 7, I was randomly, like, on Twitter, and someone was like, there's a gaming thing. And I was like, I'll just check it out. And the trailer starts, and I go, this looks like Resident Evil. And then when it was Resident Evil, I was like, oh, my God. Because the trailer was so good as an announce. And then the demo, they're like, guess what? The demo's out now. So I went on Twitch, and I watched people play the demo. And I was like, go here, go there, go there. And I was telling them what to do to try to solve the fuses or whatever, which you couldn't actually solve. But then I'm like, I gotta. And then I went out and I bought a PlayStation just so I could play the demo. I had no games except that. And then there was a free game, I think, on PS Network, like Back to the Future. And then, like 2 weeks later, I started the YouTube channel so that I could help people find the secrets and, like, explain the secrets. Because most people who are good at finding the secrets are, like, very, very, like, they're graces, you know, they're data oriented, they're problem solvers, they're focused, they can find these hidden secrets. But then when it comes time to tell people about the secrets, it's sometimes the personality doesn't match with that. So I'm not necessarily great at finding all the secrets, but I think I explain them in a simple way, because I always got so annoyed when someone would walk through a game and, like, not be super specific on how to get through this part. And I just went through that with Outbreak. IGN has a guide for Outbreak, and it's missing like 20 steps of the thing. I'm like, it's like, now go into the fire room, and it's like, there's no fire room because they skipped like 7 steps where you had to run all the way back. So anyway, I don't remember why I'm talking about that, but also, does anybody have where we're at on the time in terms of the length of this? Did I start it at 9, so an hour and a half? Here's the door in the hospital, the cherub key. Again, it's just part of the puzzles. And I just noticed there's a guy standing behind Alyssa in this photo. I swear it wasn't there before. This is her level where she's in the burning hotel. And this is her level where she's in the crumbling hospital. So hotel burns to the ground, hospital crumbles to the ground. So they can't be the same hotel and hospital unless they change history. And then this is a good time to bring back Outbreak again and just think like, okay, so let's pretend that they want to connect to Outbreak not just through one character's last name. What would be some of the connections that we would maybe see from Outbreak in this new game? Number one, it could be characters. And we've got a slide for that one. And it's here somewhere, I swear. Here you go. Here's the Outbreak crew right here. There are 8 playable characters. Resident Evil Outbreak 1 and Outbreak 2 had the same characters in it. Are there 8 levels and everyone has their own? No, are there? Not everyone has their own level. Is that true? I don't know. I just know Alyssa has her 2 levels, and I Googled, like, is this specifically her level? So a lot of the people are saying that the voices in the trailer people think could be Outbreak characters. I don't know. The character most close to Alyssa, at least in the file 1, was. Can I get closer? Where are you? There. Oh, not her. I don't know. Yoko, the one in the green jacket, was the most connected to Alyssa in the game, I believe. Somebody said that they think Kevin Ryman was one of the voices. And then I think it was Susie Spearhunter was saying maybe the guy on the bottom, Mark, is that his name? And she thought, or somebody thought that could be Mark's voice, but I don't know. And again, Outbreak is just it's an interesting game because as you play the game, so all the characters in Outbreak have the T virus, and their goal is to get to the end of Outbreak and create a serum called Daylight, which cures the T virus. So I guess in theory, if any of these characters made it out of Raccoon City, they definitely took the Daylight serum. So I don't know if they would make the storyline be they all escaped. Maybe Alyssa was the only one who escaped. I'm not sure how that would work. What's up, 88? What's up, Chris? And in terms of all these characters, I didn't like any of them. Not a single one of these characters. Even playing now, like, I didn't want to play as any of them. I had to play as Alyssa. And then Alyssa, I wish I put her outfits on here, but the costumes they used to do for these games were one of my favorite part. But the Alyssa costume, she's like wearing a nightgown. She's wearing like a kickboxing outfit or a bathing suit or something. It's just weird. We also did. I think we were talking about Kevin Ryman in one of the in Resident Evil 7 or 8. Like, could he show up? It would probably have been 7. So he's a popular character with the fans, I think. What's up, Doc? And then I'm trying to think, like, what other connections could the Outbreak be besides characters? If it's not characters, I guess it could be locations. They could mention the Daylight thing. So if in Resident Evil 9, we're like somebody's going back to the old school Resident Evil 1, Resident Evil 2 T-virus type stuff, then the Daylight thing could come into play as well. I don't think they're going to bring the Daylight lore into the game, though. Although, why would her daughter be the chosen one or the special one if she didn't have some kind of special genetics or something. I don't know. Leon, Jill, Chris, Ethan, Billy, and of course, the Barry Man and Umbrella. I think they all come back at the end, and then they all do a special dance. So, thank you all for joining me tonight for the second day of Theory Chat. This one was more based on just chatting with people rather than going over game stuff, because we talked about everything last night too. But 2 days in a row, I got a good idea now in my head of kind of starting to memorize all the different aspects of the game. Tactical says daylight is certainly important in the lore. Yeah, is it only an Outbreak or was it in other games or anything? Oh yeah, Amanda, I forgot. Where's Amanda at? Remember, everyone was always like, what does by Amanda mean? What does it mean? What does it mean? And I'm like, I'm not telling. You had to be there. You had to be cool. And now I don't even remember. Damn it, we lost it because I wouldn't tell other people. That's why you got to tell all your stories and let everyone hear them. But I will catch you guys later. I don't know. Now that I've got everything set up, I might try to play a game at some point. Every time I go live, I lose like a bunch of subscribers. I'm wondering if I should play on Twitch or something too, separately. But yeah, not sure when the next one's going to be. I told you the next one was going to be in August, but you know, we might have to play a game in between there, and I think that game has to be Outbreak. So thank you for joining me, bros, and bye, Amanda.
He's here to solve a mystery. He finds the secrets we don't see. He always tries to spill the tea. He's the man. He's where's Barry? His videos are worth the binge. His ideas are very fringe. You could say he's quite unhinged, but most of all, he's awfully cringe. Theory chat. Theory chat. Theory chat. Theory chat. He's right sometimes, he's wrong much more. His theories often break the lore. His humor is a little whack. Sometimes it's hard to unpack. We should cut him a little slack. Where's Barry? Will he be back? Theory chat. Theory chat. Theory chat. Theory chat. It's Theory Chat. He's Theory Chat. Theory Chat. Theory Chat. Theory Chat. It's Theory Chat.